Okay, well, thank you so much for coming to this session. This session is entitled Global Horizons, Internationalizing the Curriculum for a Dynamic Educational Experience. And I want to turn it over to our presenters, Charlie Bevel and Chef Laura Trago.
Thank you, Leanne.
Thank you.
Can you all see my slideshow there?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, great. Okay, so yes, Leanne has covered our title. We're looking at internationalizing the curriculum. We're going to go a little bit further than what was done in the last session, but we're still going to cover some of those things because you don't want to forget them. And some of you may not have been in Amy's session, but it has been recorded, so make sure you go and check it out. Okay, so great. My stuff doesn't want to move. Hold on one second. Why are you not moving? Here we go. Alrighty. So internationalizing the curriculum. It's not just about the course itself. You also want to look at making sure that you're representing diverse student body, which obviously we have here at ACC. But you want to make sure you address those students in your classes. So that's something that you want to make sure you pay attention to. Now, Amy gave us quite a bit of information from Alamo College and how she has internationalized her courses. And it depends on how far you want to go. We are looking at creating an international designation for courses. We haven't gotten there yet, but we're working on that process so that instructors who really want to go all out and do this will be able to. And I'm pretty sure Amy's going to have her courses on there really quickly. But this image that you can see here is a group of students, the first group of students that I took on a study abroad trip. We went to Italy and Greece. And as you can see, we had one gentleman that went with us, which was really interesting because he got to go. It was for his birthday. He got a birthday trip. So that was a lot of fun. But they were a really cool group of students. And so, yes, study abroad is one way to internationalize the curriculum, but it's not the only way. There's quite a different varieties of approaches. It can be simply adding an assignment or a module to a course that's already in existence, or you can actually completely redesign the course. The main thing to remember is that there are certain things that are required in courses already, so you want to make sure you don't forget about those, right? So if you're an instructor here at ACC and you're teaching, say, a core course, the core courses have specific things that they want in them, in addition to what's on the learning outcomes. But the core curriculum, it actually says that they want the students to have a foundation in knowledge in human cultures, the physical and natural world, social responsibility, learning about the diverse world. So it's already there that's something that is required, and we just need to make sure we're actually including it into our curriculum. So one of the things that I see quite often when I mention it to different people about doing it is that it's not going to happen. We can't do it. I can't do it. My subject is not suited to adding a global perspective. Well, we currently live in an interconnected world where everybody is connected in some way globally. We're on the internet. Our students are more connected globally than we were at their age. Now, yeah, I'm a little older than probably most of you on here, but that's not the point. When you were a freshman and undergraduate, your world was probably not as connected as our students now. So Yes, it needs to be added, and our students um, require that. So it's not that difficult to add the curriculum. Again, it can be something as simple as adding an assignment, making a reading assignment, international. I teach English, and even in the composition course, when you're teaching, when we have a writing assignment, one of the things that I do is to make sure that when they're having to do research, that part of their research is international. They have to look at international sources about whatever the topic is. So any course can have a global perspective. I already have learning objectives in my course. Um, so I can't add anything else. I'm too busy. Well, here's the thing. You don't have to add new content necessarily. You can just change um, maybe the reading assignment that goes with it, or again, the research that they have to do. It can be adapted easily to bring in that international um, lens. Then the state mandated learning outcomes can't be changed. Well, that is true. You cannot change them. You can, however, add to them. So, um, what you could do is it's possible to add student learning outcomes that are global learning outcomes. So, you look at the ones that you already have and you see how you can make it a global learning outcome. Um, And again, what I was just saying is taking the things that are already there and looking at it with a global lens. This is something that instructors can do if they just give it a little thought. It's not that hard, but I don't want to say that you can't do it. One of the things that's going to happen with the International Education Committee is that we're going to be working on coming up with some professional development to help instructors do this. Okay, so that is coming. That's down the line. So this is a look at a comprehensive model for internationalization. Okay, so you're looking at the curriculum, and that's when you're going to internationalize. You're going to add some elements, or you can possibly redesign the course. um, the co-curriculum thing that comes into play. You could actually, well, one of the things that we're looking at with the international designation is also having that connected with honors. So our honors students will be looking at an international perspective. They'll be looking through a global lens as well. Faculty and staff support. Again, this is the committee creating some trainings for faculty and to help you internationalize your actual course, and then also working with you to develop maybe a study abroad program for your class. That's that mobility part. Partnerships. We do have some partnerships, but we're always looking for more because you want to be able to connect with educators. Um, Here in the States and elsewhere. You want to connect with businesses that take care of internationalization. Um, as far as the students, may have a business here that is also has a branch in another country. There's other schools in other countries that we can partner with. Um, the institutional commitment and policy, we are working on that now for ACC. It hasn't been completely nailed down, but we're in the process of getting that taken care of. And then leadership and structure. And again, we're looking at working on this here at ACC. None of our courses have the I designation because we are, again, this is something new for us. We have, Amy brought up Alamo College. I think it was Alamo College that she brought up earlier. This is one of the schools that has already done this, as well as Lone Star has done this as well. So these are the schools that we're talking to now to learn the things that they've done. the best practices for setting this all up. Okay. Now, that's just an overview of some of the things. I would have gone in deeper into that, but like I said, Amy covered most of this earlier, so we're not going to look at that so much. We're going to look a little bit at what this does and how instructors can actually use this, because we want to make sure we get in some professional development, and our professional development can be fun, and it can be in other countries since we're looking at this internationalization. So Laura, let's have you say something about that.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I was given this opportunity by the college in Charlie Bevel to go abroad to Ireland on their first ever culinary tour. They were kind of using it as a test dummy, for lack of better terms, and got to go. It was kind of last minute. I think we had a month to plan this, but Charlie worked diligently to get us to go on this trip. I'd have to say the biggest part about this abroad trip, obviously traveling is wonderful, right? And going to new countries is awesome. And I can fit this into my curriculum because we teach internationally, we teach Irish cuisine. And so this was just wonderful for that as well. But the networking that I wasn't expecting to come from this trip was just remarkable. So I turned that into opportunities for my students. So there was one, as you see it kind of in the top picture under Smithwick's. That's Dean Francine Mars. She's also a chef, and she's dean for the Culinary School, Culinary Institute of the South, and Technical College of the Low Country. And specifically, Chef Mars or Dean Mars or Dr. Mars, she has lots of titles, has given me contacts to many international and national contacts for intern programs for our students on this campus, along with other campuses she works with, including her own there at the Low Country College. Some of these contacts are internationally, so I have a few students that are looking at actually going into Ireland and either studying abroad, working abroad, or interning abroad. And what's good about the Ireland studying abroad, which I didn't know until I went, was their government facilitates a lot of this. They have zero unemployment, which means they don't have enough employees to or enough people to employ this industry, specifically food and beverage and hospitality, which is, with culinary, which is what I teach. And so we're looking at sending a few students over there. They have ways that the government helps fund that travel for these students. The pay, getting your not your citizenship, but your work visas and stuff. You don't have to do that for food and beverage. So there's lots of opportunities that makes it a lot easier for my students in particular to go over and study, work, or intern abroad. So we have a few that are looking into that with Dr. Neve and John that facilitated this trip through Charlie Bevel. So that's one way that this networking helped. Chef Francine Mars also, she's been in education. Obviously, she's a dean and she was a chef prior to that in faculty, but she's been in education for many years. So has many contacts that somebody like me that's been a chef for 25 years and very new to education had no idea about or didn't have any way to come across or find for my students. So things like the Augusta Masters Golf Tournament, they have an intern program. We have 3 students that got accepted to this. This is huge for our students and for our program. You put that on any resume and you're going to be probably easily accepted into another internship or to work somewhere where of your choice. Also, another good contact that we got was the culinary Disney contact, not just the college Disney internship, but the culinary aspect of that in the baking and pastry side. We have 2 that got accepted to that. All of this were direct results of this international trip to Ireland, which I think is huge, again, for the program, but also for the college, because we're doing wonderful things here for our students and giving them these opportunities that maybe we didn't know about in the past. I know I didn't. So the networking was huge. There's other colleges that we work with. There's another institute for, hold on, where is it? Myrtle Beach, the International Culinary Institute of Myrtle Beach. We have a chef there that that I'm working currently with, and we did get another internship, a baker's convention that he forwarded me the contact to, and we did get one into that internship so far, and that one's locally here at NRG. let's see, also Camp Winnedu in Massachusetts is one we're working with. We have 2 students that have applied. We haven't heard anything back yet. That's still a new one. I think that's a lot of the networking part of it. What we'll do also in 2025 is we are going to partner with Chef Dean Dr. Mars, again in the top picture with myself. And in 2025, we're going to go to France, which is kind of the hub, which is where culinary began. This time we'll be taking students. So we have students currently saving money. We're looking at ways for them to raise money on campus, and then also offering scholarships through our culinary scholarship funds to help foot some of the bill for these abroad trips so they can learn abroad. It's not just a pipe dream, right? This is something that we're actually going to make happen with some students. We will then add in a local needs course and create curriculum around this abroad trip, which is kind of what Chef Mars or Dean Mars said that they did on their campus. Let's see. Also, these abroad trips for students and for faculty just helps keep, specifically for culinary, it's the only one I can speak to, it helps keep it relevant, right? Keeps my curriculum relevant when it comes specific to the international cuisine that we teach. So it's one thing to read about Ireland or get a recipe book or even know a chef maybe that specializes in it. But to go into Ireland and to actually see the specific region cooking and ingredients of specific regions is wonderful and keeps our curriculum very relevant for students. So that's also a great way that we've incorporated this international abroad and study abroad stuff into our curriculum. Let me see. I don't know that I have a lot of others. In some of these pictures that you'll see coming up, there were several chefs that we network with. There were many what would be considered 5-star restaurants that we went to and ate at and met these chefs. And all of these chefs were talking to the industry folks and faculty and even students about the need for international study abroad students. Some of these pictures right here. He was just making a joke. You don't leave your wife with another chef. So that's kind of the whole hysterical photo there on the right. But the need for these abroad students in some of these countries, specifically Ireland, where they don't have enough people in their country to kind of foot all of these opportunities, or hotels and restaurants and all this kind of stuff. They don't have enough employees to do that. So going to help them internationally as well with some of our gifted and talented students. That was kind of how I've incorporated it into the culinary program here at ACC, and how we intend to, moving into the future, is going to other countries, obviously putting it back into our curriculum so that you can learn, so that our students can learn and grow, but giving them the opportunities abroad and nationally that maybe we just didn't have in the past. So it's already just one trip. Yes, it was a major trip to Ireland, but just one trip turned into some very rewarding opportunities that the students took great advantage of.
Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so the way we met, the group that Laura is speaking of is the Institute of Study Abroad Ireland. And we met them. Tanya and I went a few years ago before COVID and met them, and actually went to see their setup. It's really interesting the way they do things. They have their own. Neve is she's an actual professor, and quite a bit of their stuff is focused on looking at or comparing things that happen in the States to things that happen in Ireland and other countries as well. But it's really interesting to look at, when we were there, we looked at racism, which you wouldn't necessarily think about, or our students wouldn't necessarily think about. They may think of racism in the States, and then to go to Ireland and say, oh, well, everybody's white, there wouldn't be racism. Yeah, no, that's not true. So they learned different things, and they learned about how the world looks at things, and they also see how Ireland is looking at us at this, you know, and the different things that we've been through. So it gives them again the international lens to look at things. They are, again, Institute of Study Abroad. Ireland is one of our partners, and we really love them a lot. Now, other things that we've done is we've done some study abroad trips. Of course, these were all before COVID, and they went over really well once we got to go. But I'll show you. Get my stuff to open back up. Yes, I'll show you this little slide. This is our first trip. We went to Italy and Greece. It actually has sound, but I'm not hearing it. So of these students, only one had been out of the country, and most had not left the state of Texas, which was kind of scary to me. But that was really interesting to learn. They became extremely close on this trip. And because we traveled with EF College Study Tours, we were combined with other schools. They met and became friends with students from other schools as well. So it was a really interesting trip. Again, the young man, he was there and got to go to, he was in Pompeii for his birthday, which was really interesting for him, which he thought was pretty cool. And then this is going to be a little, nope, come on, go to the next one. I hope you can hear this. Let's see. Nope. Why am I not hearing it? Can you guys hear it?
No, we're not hearing anything either.
Okay. How do I turn up the sound on the video? I suppose I could always pull it out, because she's actually giving us a little testimonial about being there. So let me just pull it up this way. And I still can't hear it. That's weird.
Is there a choice for when you go to share it to select the audio on Teams?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that kind of stuff, huh? Okay, let's see. Share sound. Computer sound. Back pause. Love technology. Can you hear it now?
No, ma'am.
Well, I can now, but you can't. This is nuts. Okay, well, that was just mostly background music. Let me pull up hers and see if I can get it to.
Now you're not sharing your screen anymore either. So
Okay, let's try that again. Oh. How has experiencing new cultures affected your plans for the future? Did you hear that?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's let her answer it.
Well, it's made me want to travel more. It was interesting being in places. I've never been in a place where I don't speak the language, and it was weird, but it was also cool, and it was a great experience. And it was interesting to see the differences in culture and how the similarities. And I just really want to travel more.
Okay. So I stopped sharing, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So that was Yvonne. And one of the things, I don't know if you were able to see it, but in the little slideshow that came first of them, she had, we are at the Vatican and she is standing with a photograph of her grandmother um, who had passed, but they had a plan to actually travel. And her grandmother got sick, didn't get to go. She's standing there with a photograph of her grandmother at the Vatican. So this, I mean, there's different things that happen on this particular trip, but it was really interesting for me as an instructor because this was the first time I had taken students. I had gone on a study abroad myself as a student, but not as an instructor. And so realizing that these students, most of them, like I said, only one had left the country and the others had not gone much further than Louisiana. Um, so I was getting to experience it with them, which was really interesting and really rewarding. Um, so things that we focus on in the future, because like I said, these were trips that were before COVID. We are working as a committee to try to get us back on track to travel. We're looking at our next trip to be in a Spanish speaking country because one of the things that we want to do with this internationalization and with study abroad is to also help the programs. Like with Chef Laura going over to Ireland and finding these connections so that her students can do internships there in Ireland and then making connections for other places. We want to make sure that the other programs are finding ways to bring it in. So one of the things that is happening on campus, well, should say not happening on campus, our foreign languages have fallen almost by the wayside because they fell off the core. So most of our Spanish classes are dual enrollment, and we're looking to try to get the foreign languages back on campus or at least online um, for the school. So we're looking at a Spanish speaking country so that we can use our Spanish, one of our Spanish courses um, to create a study abroad course. So that's why the next one will probably be somewhere in South or Central America. Um, we're also, I think I brought it up earlier that we're working with the honors department so that our honors students are also getting the I for their courses so that they're getting the I for the courses. That sounds like they're getting an incomplete. No, the I that I mean is the international credit for their courses. And so they would have like a capstone course that would be, they would also travel on that. But we're looking at incorporating other courses and things like that. We haven't decided for sure yet where we're going, but we're looking to start planning further out. So 2025 is almost around the corner, and we're hoping to do something for May 2025. And I know that sounds weird because this is just February 24, but we got a plan and the kids got to raise their money, and we need to look for funding, additional funding for students, because that is the biggest deterrent for students is money. I mean, that's for everybody, I suppose, but our students in particular, because they are coming from a place of, quite a few of our students are coming from a place where they're on Pell Grants. So they need the additional funding. So we're looking for ways to make sure that happens. We're also looking at looking at instructors who would like to do study abroad. Now, what we try to do is to have more than one course that's attached to a trip. So when we did Italy and Greece, we had I think it was a sociology class or psych class, sociology or psych, I can't remember, and a government class, as well as for this particular one, it was a humanities course. Usually humanities goes with just about any of them because, I mean, that's not that hard to do. It's just getting them scheduled and getting them on the books. In your courses, most of the, well, not the courses, but in your programs, most of the programs have at least one course that will be sets itself up to do a study abroad. Either it's a course that has a capstone where the students are working independently, that kind of thing, or it's actually got them working, doing an internship somewhere, so we could do an international internship that kind of way. Most of what we do though has been short faculty-led programs, but there are other things that are available. There are semester at sea. We have a student that actually did that. She did it on her own and came in and said, hey, can you help me get some funding, some additional funding? So that is an option. Semester at sea is actually pretty cool. I would love to be able to take the time off and go and teach a course, but I don't think Nadia will let that happen. The other thing is, I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. The instructors, you get to you create courses that focus on what it is that you're interested in. If you have connection somewhere or you are really into a certain topic that is still on our books, it's available for a course to be taught at the school, then you can use that, and we will work with you to set it up to see what it is that needs to be done to make sure that happens. Um, and it does nothing else. I mean, the least that it'll do is increase your enrollment in that program. Okay, so that's one of the things that we're looking at, is trying to increase the enrollment in some of the programs. Amy mentioned that earlier in her session, that the numbers were low as far as courses, the numbers in the courses. Giving students some initiative to, or some incentive to go beyond just the regular sitting class or be online and take a class, helps to make that grow. It does. And if we find additional funds for them, even better. We'll see these things grow really, really quickly. Okay, so like I said, there were things that I was going to cover, but Amy took care of that. So we will go to our next slide. Amy. So do you all have any questions. Let me share that. I guess I don't have to share that. It's just, do you have questions?
So if as an instructor, I have an idea about where we could go or how I could internationalize my course with this, I just would ask you in the committee.
Yes. So again, we're going to be working on setting up specifically what needs to be done for each course so that we don't have to start from scratch each time. But there used to be a Gulf Coast consortium with Lone Star and several of the other community colleges. COVID happened and that kind of fell by the wayside. But we do have access to them and the things that are in place for a course. So if you were planning to get, say, 3 or 4 courses together to go to, let's go to Costa Rica. Haha. Well, that's an easy one for, say, a biology course, right? An environmental science course. There's definitely things there. But then there's also, you could do a foreign language, you could do humanities. So there's all kinds of ways to do that. And yes, we would work with you to set it up to make sure your syllabus has everything in it that it needs to have to set up the actual trip itself. There's no you having to plan the trip, book the flights, all that kind of stuff. No, we go through a third party here. So that's the one of the good things about ACC. They insist on us having a third party provider take care of all that kind of stuff so that we don't have to think about it. So yeah, that's what would happen. Okay, anybody else?
I think Leroy Brigman, didn't he talk about possibly doing something eventually in Germany because there's a big um, welding something. I don't know if it's steel mill or something over there that he would like
Right.
to see. So there's opportunities in all kinds of programs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What about you, Alex? Where do you want to go?
I want to go back in time and go on that Greece trip with you.
Yeah, that was great. That was absolutely fabulous.
No, it looked like a great experience. It's, as I'm sure you know from talking to Chris, it's the challenge is actually narrowing it down
Right.
to a specific doable sort of itinerary, and one that obviously makes sense to the students too. So the Greece does appeal to me for a variety of reasons, but I could easily see England or Scotland or France being good trips. Italy's a great idea too, just to stay in that one place, because there's such a variety there, north to south. And again, it gets you into some issues that you might not expect, or the students might not expect there. The regionalisms in Italy are pretty pronounced, and
Oh yeah.
how do you put it gently, the prejudice that exists between the different sections of that country. Again, north to south, which would be kind of similar to the United States, but might not be expected by the students. So there's lots of interesting ideas. I'm sure Chris has lots of ideas about a different part of the world that would be even more complicated to get students to. This also is very focused on Western Europe. I don't know, or Europe in general. I don't know what the capabilities are of doing this anywhere else. You mentioned what, Costa Rica or Central America. Is that easy or?
Well, we're looking at trying to find some things a little bit closer to home. So hopefully it's less as far as cost, and maybe we can stay a little longer. One of the things that I did find out, though, which was really interesting, is that Brazil, even though it's a lot closer than Europe, is much more expensive. And yeah, so that's, yeah, it just depends on where you're going, that kind of thing. So yeah. All right, who else is here? Amy. Hello, Amy.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good. Let me plug my mic in. There we go.
So are there any ideas or questions that you have about either study abroad or things that we're working on as far as well, you're on the committee, so I guess I don't have to answer that question, but about study abroad, possible study abroad, things to do.
Yeah, you know, study abroad is so awesome. I love that. Like it's just such great opportunities for students. As an undergrad, I archaeology or anthropology major, we did digs down in Belize. It's close, it's like a 2.5 hour flight. And it's pretty easy to get around. And I do know that they also had other like actual study abroad programs going on down there from other universities. We were down there for months at a time.
Oh, okay.
But the other colleges and universities that would come in would come in for anywhere from like 2 weeks to a month. But it's something to think about. It's close. It's relatively cheap. The official language of the country is English, and but you can also hear Spanish being spoken often, if not about half the time. So it's it's interesting culturally too. So Belize has a variety of different cultures within its tiny little territory, and only has about 300,000 people, but it's very culturally diverse. It's a really neat little country. Just an idea, throwing that out there.
Yes, I'm making a note of it, ma'am. Making a note. Okay, anybody else? Saw that something popped up in the chat. What was that?
That was me.
Okay.
I am 100% all about these learning communities, about getting some cross-disciplinary collaboration. And if we could put students together in a learning community in 2 or 3 different classes from different disciplines, and then offer the trip to those students based on whatever those classes were, that would give them kind of a holistic experience.
Absolutely.
I volunteer as tribute, by the way. So.
Yes, well, the trips that we went on, like I said, the Italy and Greece. Then the next one was Eastern Europe, and that was that was another humanities class. It was, I think it was a sociology class, social problems, I think was the other class. Those were the only 2 that made, and I had students that were in both classes. So that was really interesting. They're doing the travel for 2 classes, which worked really well. So yeah, the learning community is even better if that's a possibility. But one of the things that we make sure we do is before they actually travel, the students have training sessions. They learn about packing, they learn about their passport and all that kind of stuff done beforehand. So they do get to meet each other and learn about each other, even if they're not in classes together. So it still is a community before they leave. So that makes it really nice. Now, even if you're not on the International Education Committee, and if you want to be, let me know. We always look for any ideas that you might have about connections or contacts, or about possible study abroad trips, different things that are out there that are available. If you hear about any additional funding, scholarships, that kind of thing, anything that you have that you run across about international education, because we do want to get this back up and running, because we haven't been anywhere since COVID, and which Was really sad because we did have a trip scheduled to Ireland and had to cancel. It was very depressing. So yeah, we want to get this back up and running. So any ideas that we can get, we're looking for. Okay. Let's see. Who is Timothy? What about you, sir? Is he teasing me? Oh, I can't figure out anything with math. Greece. What are you talking about? Greece, absolutely. As a matter of fact, on that Italy and Greece trip, I don't think one of those images was in there, but we were on, now I can't think of the name of the island, but actually the island actually had a statue of Pythagoras on it. So it was really cool. Cannot remember what island we were on. So yeah, we did a little hopping on the islands as part of the trip. So that was nice. But yes, you could actually set up a trip to Greece. That would be cool. Daryl, are you there? Syracuse.
Great job on that. We're
You
excited.
say Daryl?
Yes,
Yes. Hi.
I think you're right. Any ideas?
Okay, so I'm in technology, so I've always wanted to do something like that, but I wasn't sure how that would work.
Okay. So what are your courses that you're teaching?
I teach stuff like how to build a computer, how to build networks, how to program,
Oh, Daryl,
cybersecurity.
there
Yeah,
are so many things out there available for you. We
I'm
need to
glad you
talk,
said
sir.
that.
We need to talk. I mean, even with EF college study tours, they have things that are they already have programs set, but we could find others as well. So because they're a little more expensive and we're trying to get away from EF,
Mhm.
but there are other programs that are out there. So yeah, there's quite a few that have technology involved in them.
And
So,
what
and
country
yes,
could I go to?
dude, just about anywhere. I mean, think about it. Technology, we're all connected through technology. Some of the things that could happen is that we set you up and you're actually going to be in a classroom in the country. That could happen.
Okay.
Sometimes we have things that are available and it's all in the planning. So, we work it out ahead of time, but where you'd actually go to a company and see what they're doing. Maybe it's cybersecurity or something like that. So there's lots of different programs, Daryl. So we need to talk for sure.
Okay, I definitely will. I like that.
Okay, how are we on time, Leanne?
We have about 14 minutes, I believe.
Okay.
Oh,
Does
I'm
anybody-
sorry, 12 minutes.
Well, okay. Anybody have any questions or anything like that about any of this? About how to get it set up? Usually our trips, like I said, so what we've done before have been faculty-led short-term programs, but there are lots of different things out there. There's also, if I haven't mentioned, and I don't think I did, programs for instructors to go on. So I have one that I'm looking for specifically. He's thinking about a Fulbright. Um, but there are other programs as well for us to actually go. We're not taking students, we're going ourselves. So that's a possibility. Okay. There are faculty exchanges that can happen. Nadia is really going for that one. So yeah, there's lots of different things that's out there, not just for the students, but for us as well. So if you want to look at going to another place like Laura did, she got to get the network and everything. Let me know. What are you interested in? What do you want to focus on? And I'll start looking to see what's available for you. Okay. Anybody have an idea where they want to go on their own?
I'll just say when people decide where they want to go, there's always going to be food. So we'll go with y'all to lower that cost.
There you go,
Hey,
Laura.
it's two birds, right?
There you go. There you go. And I'm looking forward to that France trip because I'm gonna have to figure out a way to do that myself.
Yeah, that's going to be a remarkable trip for the students just because it's where it all started for culinary. But to be able to do it with other colleges and their students, that's just going to be amazing as well. Because then you just see all this, all those lights going off in their brains when they're talking. There was a lot of that during the travel throughout Ireland, students talking and networking and relating and where they going next. And so those students get so many opportunities. Just, I mean, because there were times we were on that bus for an hour or so and they're just in
Right.
there just networking and talking and then with other schools and other faculty and deans. And so it was really a remarkable experience.
Absolutely. Yep. Okay. Well, that's all I have. Now I do have a slide that has mine and Laura's emails on them, but I'm C Bevel at ACC and Laura's L Trigo. So so that we don't have to share the slide again, pull it back up. Unless you just want to see it. All right, well, that's all I have. And again, if you have any questions, if you have any ideas, if you want to just chat about study abroad or internationalizing your courses, internationalizing your courses, you have both me and Amy. But as far as the study abroad part of it, just let me know. We'll work on that and we'll look for different things for you to do. And if you know of some instructors from other schools that would love to come to Alvin, Naughty has been asking for that. So I don't know many people at other schools or internationally, but I'm working on it. So there you go. So throw those those ideas out there as well. Thank you for visiting with us today. It was a lot of fun. And let's get these students and ourselves back on the road.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording.